And the mistakes continue. What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube and Rumble subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another New York Giants Just Chillin podcast stream, aka the call-in stream. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Shout out to Cresley, Kayla, Edward, Miz in here. Thank you guys. Jake as well for letting me know I was muted. I was just saying I'm still working on the intro. Kayshawn or Kayshawn, Mr. Stroud, related to CJ Stroud perhaps, in the chat there as well. I was just saying I continue to mess up the intro because I still have yet to get down not doubling the audio. It's gonna be a work in progress. I'm sure if you go back and you listen to the intro, you're gonna hear a little bit of a double a couple times. We're gonna get it right. And then when I moved to the side here, I was like, I have my Saquon shirt on, you know, the Killer Bees, which I made this past season because I thought we were gonna have a good rushing attack with, you know, three guys, Barkley, Booker, and Brightwell. You know, that's why I said the Killer Bees. That did not happen. And Joe Schoen is here on the screen as well, because for those of you that may have, you know, taken a look at what he was talking about earlier today at the NFL Combine, you'd see that he was asked, and this did kind of get blown up a little bit. He was asked if, you know, what he thought about trading Saquon or something along the lines of if trading Saquon was on the table. And he said, you know, absolutely everything is on the table. And when I was thinking about trades that were going to be made or potentially going to be talked about when the Combine started, I was leaning a little bit more towards James Bradbury than Saquon Barkley, just because of how much the coaching staff seemed committed to him. They committed a lot to Daniel Jones. They also have committed a little bit to Barkley as well. But, you know, Bradbury, for a multitude of reasons, made the most sense. And I still think it's possible. I still think that the Bills are a team Bradbury could get traded to, along with the Patriots. And I'm sure there's other teams out there. But that Saquon comment definitely caught my attention, especially when on the same day the Bills general manager Brandon Beane said that him and the Bills as an organization are going to be looking to steal back some stuff from the Giants because, you know, we took their assistant GM and we took their offensive coordinator. Vets, what's up, man? How you doing? In here as well, Ms. Kayla says, I have my own unworn Saquon Barkley. Now no one wants to buy it. Yeah, I have a Color Rush Saquon Barkley jersey in the closet. I'm pretty sure I wore it to the game anyway, even though he didn't perform, because Saquon's like my favorite player. He's the whole reason I started the channel in the first place was because of Saquon Barkley. If he's gone, he's gone. You know, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to be a little sad, but he is my favorite player. I'm going to pop the link in the chat for any of you that want to call in, talk about what it is you want to talk about, whether it's the offseason, whether it's about a little bit of quotes that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll had in their interviews at the Combine, whether it's to talk strictly about draft prospects, whatever it is. Let me drop that link right now. It's going to pop up on the screen for a second as I put it in the chat. And while that is there, let me also pull up a couple of quotes that I highlighted. I saw were flowing around on Twitter from those interviews and read them off to you guys. I bookmarked them here. So let's see. Jordan Moran right here. He said he asked Joe Schoen how open he is to a trade for some of his better players, specifically Saquon Barkley. The response in quotes was, I'm open to everything. He's willing to listen to pretty much anything. They have to make some difficult decisions on which guys will be coming soon, quote unquote, on soon. There's another quote here just about the Giants coaching staff in general. This is from Art Stapleton, well-respected Giants beat reporter. He says, swell of positivity here last night at the NFL Combine for the presence of Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll with the Giants. Praise from inside and outside organization and a lot on the alignment between the two. Schoen and Daboll are in lockstep, and observations confirm that so far. We do have somebody in here. Let me pop you on. It is Jake S. What up, bro? How you doing?
Hey,
welcome
man,
on to the stream.
Going?
Hey, man, all good. What about yours?
Pretty good. I just have one quick question. So I want to know your opinion on if we took KT with our 5th pick and either like Devin Lloyd or like Gardner with our 7th, and then like go like O-line with the rest of the rounds.
If Kayvon Thibodeau somehow drops to 5, bro, I'm already happy. I don't know if I've said this enough, because he's one of the 2 best players in the draft. I'm a firm believer that the 2 best players in this draft are Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau. So if he for some reason drops there, and it is a position of need, I'm automatically happy with like for the rest of the night with what the Giants do in the first round. I'm definitely gonna be happy with Devin Lloyd. I gotta do, I don't know. It's gonna take a little bit convincing for me to be happy with Sauce Gardner at 7. I know he's like potentially the best corner in the class, and cornerback is especially after Bradbury is gone, it is gonna be considered a position in need. I would just right now I still feel like we prioritize something else, but I'm starting to come around on it because I've really been starting to think about it these past couple of days. I'm like, if we make some kind of trade for any of our players, right? Specifically Bradbury, we're gonna get a pick back, man. Like I think we're gonna get a 3rd round pick back. I feel like that's what he's worth. I think he's worth a 2nd, but I feel like knowing other teams knowing that the Giants are looking to shop him, for cap space, that puts us at a disadvantage. So I feel like maybe a 3rd or a 4th is what we're gonna get back. And if we get a 3rd or 4th back, you know what? I'd feel comfortable taking the best cornerback in the class at 7 and packaging that 3rd round pick or another one of our 3rd and 2nd to probably get back into the 1st to try and take a guy like Trevor Penning at the end of the 1st. He's still a really good tackle. He's not like one of the top 2, top 3, but he's number 4 right there. And he's going to be more than good enough to be our right tackle, and I'll be happy with that. So I've been coming around to it, picking that cornerback, whether it's Stingley or Sauce at 7. Devin Lloyd, I'm all aboard with it. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about Nakobe Dean? Not sure how long you've been watching the channel, but I'm a big Nakobe Dean fan.
He doesn't have as much upside as Lloyd has.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's more like a plug-and-play kind of guy.
Nakobe Dean?
I wouldn't mind having him. I don't think I would take him as high as 7, though.
Really? So you don't think they're like 1A, 1B? You think there's a little bit of gap between Lloyd and Dean?
I think there's a little bit of gap, yeah. Maybe if we traded back, I would consider it, but I just don't think I would feel comfortable with that.
I'll definitely say this. The thing that Devin Lloyd I like a lot about him compared to Dean is the frame and the size. I think Lloyd is 6'2", 225, and Dean is like barely scratching 6 foot, like 220 or something like that. So he has size and frame on Dean for sure. Kayla, it's all fine, man. If she says that the mic isn't working. If you got a phone as well works. Raj, what's up, man? He says, should we sign Rasul Douglas? He's clutch in clutch moments. Great description there, my man. And he's a great defender. Let me look him up real quick. How much you think he's going to come? If he's going to come for around like 2 to 3 million, I'm going to be down. Let's see. Rasul Douglas. Well, he was with the Packers this past season. I think we should take a look at him, yeah, for sure. But I right now, my favorite guy, and I don't know if Jake, you've looked at any potential cheap cornerback free agents.
Yeah.
Douglas being one of them. I definitely think we should take a look at him. But another guy that's really caught my attention, and a lot of it does have to do with the fact that he's played in the NFC East before, Sidney Jones. He was with the Seahawks this past season. I know Douglas was with the Eagles a couple seasons ago as well, right? I mean, hey, why not get both of them? 2 former Eagles cornerback.
Yeah.
That would be kind of funny. But have you looked at any potential cheap guys on the market?
Not cornerbacks per se. I've done a little bit on free agency. Mostly just like O-line because we need that the most.
Yeah.
Also, I forget his name. He was on the Saints though. I heard we can get him for pretty cheap.
What position?
His name real quick.
What position? I'm guessing he's on phone or something because can't hear him right now. But anybody coming in, the link is there. I see New York Giants S in the lineup. The S is cut off. That's just how StreamYard works sometimes, unfortunately. In terms of the combine, well, obviously, I think what everybody's looking forward to the most would be the player drills and player performances. Oh yeah, what's up, man? Go ahead, Jake.
You're muted, by the way.
No, the chat can hear me just fine. And I'm not muted on StreamYard. Are you sure about that? Are you sure that you're not the one who has me muted? Jake, I'm assuming he's going to pop back in because he just dipped. While he does that, what up, Hales? I know how you doing. Shout out to Frankie Jackhammers Jackson. That's a pretty cool nickname. New York Giants show. Keon, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up, man?
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. What questions you got, man? Or what do you want to talk about?
just talk about the combine, how and the draft, and how like the draft will go and see and talk about the trade rumors and how he feel about the Saquon Barkley.
Okay, let's start off with Saquon. What do you think the Giants should do with him, man?
See, this what I want. This what I really want.
Keon, can you get closer to the mic? Because I can't hear you that well. Just get closer to the mic or the phone or whatever device you're using.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, you gotta stay close to it.
Alright. This what I really want from Saquon really is if he can get back to himself. And we haven't been seeing that, and I just want him to get back better, and he said he's willing to do anything to have a good trade pick. So if we get a good trade trade decision, we can just trade him.
Well, what do you think would be a good package for Saquon? What kind of pick are you looking for to give up Saquon?
First round mid, or like a second round ish.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if we're getting a first round pick for Saquon, I'd probably do that in a heartbeat. I don't know if I could pass up on that. But here's the real question, Keon. Do you want to trade Saquon or do you want him on the team?
I will keep him for another year and see how he go play that year, and see how he got better from last year and from last year and this year, and then how he gonna be this year in the season.
How do you feel about the quarterback Daniel Jones, man?
He's a good kid, and I feel like we can use him great. It's just we haven't been using him the way he wanted. He got to be used. He got to be used with an offensive line, and he just got to stop getting injured. And if he stop getting injured, and our receivers stay healthy, and our offensive line will be good, we can be.
So you want to give him a chance?
Yeah, I give him a chance, but if he can't show up to his potential in this year's in the season, we have to let him go.
Now, somebody in the chat by the name of Christian, he says something here that I agree with. He says, I think Bradbury has a better trade market than Saquon. Keep Saquon. I agree with him. I feel like more teams would want to go for Bradbury. He has more recent success, more recent consistency, not injured that much compared to Saquon. What do you think about that? I think Bradbury would be the guy that we trade rather than Saquon.
Yeah, really, if anybody who want Bradbury, I would be quick to trade him. He's a second round person / in third, and if anybody want him, I will trade him quick if anybody want him. So I agree.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. AB says second. If we're getting a second for Bradbury, I'll do that 100%. Football dude guy. Am I friend with any Giants TikTokers? I didn't even know Giants TikTokers existed. I do have a TikTok account for the channel where I made like one video. I should probably use it a bit more, but no, I don't. I don't know anybody on Giants TikTok. And Keon, you say you want to talk about the draft a little bit. How do you feel about I guess what player do you like the most at 5 for the Giants?
This is what I say. It depends how the draft go. If Kayvon Thibodeau stay there at 5, I would be happy to get him. I wouldn't care. But with a lot of stuff at 7, I would want to go center. But if we don't need that fit right now, I will probably go around Devin Lloyd or Amar Gardner.
So you would say Kayvon at 5. Is Kayvon the only person you're thinking at 5? Did I get that right?
See, if Charles Cross still stay on the board, I will go with him at 5 and Keem O'Connell at 5 too.
All right, yeah. That's we got a smart Giants fan right here, man. How old are you, bro?
11.
11? I think
Yup.
the Giants fan base got to be one of the smartest fan bases out there, bro. We got this little dude just speaking pure facts. That's all I got to say about it. But how would you feel about a trade down with one of those picks? Maybe get some other picks in this year's draft and next year's draft, or do you want to stay at 5 and 7?
And yeah, I just made a video on talking about trading down, and I said if we just get a stud at 5, we can just we got a stud. We can just trade the 7th round pick for like a first round pick, or in the 2nd round with a 2023 like 4th round pick.
Oh, you came in with the specifics. I like that. How'd you get that trade? Did you check the draft trade chart or something, or how'd you come up with that?
I just got it out my mind.
Oh, okay. Heard you. Well, man, I mean, listen, bro. Anything else you want to put out there? Anything else you want to potentially talk about?
No.
Hey, listen, bro. You got a bright future. Keep doing your thing. You said you got a channel. Continue doing it. Drop that channel in the chat, man. Let the people know where they can find you. But good work, man. Good work. Thank you for calling in.
All right. Peace
Have a
out,
good one.
y'all.
Yeah, peace, man. And as soon as the New York Giants show with Keon ends, Jake pops back in. Jake, you good there, bro?
Hey man, so I couldn't hear you, and then I realized it was probably my fault. So
Yeah, what's
went
up
to
though? You were talking about you were looking at a couple free
Yeah,
agents. What
so,
positions specifically?
yeah, so it was Taron Armstead. And
Him for
yeah,
cheap?
Taron Armstead.
How is he
No,
going for
not
cheap?
not cheap, not cheap. I was thinking probably he would probably cost like a second, like a couple seconds in the third.
How can
I
we?
mean, I've seen some
Hold
videos
up.
on potential trades.
Let me
so.
before I speak mistakenly real quick. Let me pull up his
Unless
contract.
I'm wrong. I thought I saw someone say that.
Wait, hold up. I just want to pull up his contract just to make sure, because he's making around in 2022. What is he making? He's making 13 million. No, not 13 million. 5 million or something, because he restructured his contract. Oh, so that's actually very doable. 5 to 13 million if the Giants can free up that cap space. I mean, veteran tackle. Would you keep him at left tackle and move Andrew Thomas over to the right side, or would you move Teron to the right side?
I would see how he does at guard. If
You
he
would move
doesn't
him
do-
inside.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question though: if you got, because he's like one of the better, if not one of the best tackles in the league, right? Like, why wouldn't you keep him at that spot?
Has he played right tackle before? Do you
That's
know if he has?
that's actually a great question. Let me pull up Pro Football Network and let me
'Cause I'm just
see what they
afraid.
say.
Like Andrew's taken a huge lead this year,
Hmm.
and I just don't know if I'm ready to take him off of that position.
Let's see. Teron Armstead. Yeah, no, he's played left tackle his entire career.
I mean, you can mix and match. You can try both of them out. See who plays better at right tackle.
I'd probably man, because I mean I think you'd be set with either or, but where'd you see that trade at? That's not one I've really heard about. Does he want out of New Orleans for some reason or something like that?
I'm
Like,
pretty
does
sure I
New
heard it from
Orleans want him gone?
I'm pretty sure I heard it from Entertainment or Bad Dog, one of those,
Oh.
on his streams one time.
I mean, listen, bro, if we could do it, if there's a reason for one of
I'd
the
be
teams to want to do it, of course I'm down. You got, like, what else can I say? One of the better tackles in the league. Because of he's restructured, it's not going to be terrible cap hit for the Giants. Maybe we give up, a couple seconds. I'd be down to do it. But I don't know if I see the Saints actually, like, what reason would the Saints have to do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they're an insane amount of cap. But I mean, I guess he doesn't cost that much. But they don't have like a quarterback right now. Jameis is kind of a question mark. So I don't know. Maybe they're ready for a rebuild. But
Oh, Armstead is a free agent, Raj. The spot rack, let me pull it back up, said it was a restructure, because if he's a free agent, that makes even more sense. That means we could just try and sign him. Let me see. Teron Armstead, free agency. Oh, yeah, he is indeed a free agent. So, hey, you know what? That makes way more sense now.
well,
A lot
then,
of things cleared up. Huh. If he values himself like he should, I don't think he's signing for the cheap. I think
Yeah,
he's
probably
signing
not.
on like a good contract. But I mean, if Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll could work some kind of magic, then hey, why not? You know what I
They
mean?
could. Yeah, it's possible.
Anybody else you've had your eye on or heard about?
Not really. I've been mostly into the draft stuff. Rest of the
What
free
up,
agency.
Brocosin in the chat? Kale says we need a trade, and part of that is very true. With 7, I saw this. I think it was BigBlueView.com. It was the 49ers, I think. We got we got their first round pick, obviously, a second and a first next year, and I think that added up to the equivalent value. And I'm like, that's not a bad trade. I think the Niners are picking around 19 or something like that.
Yeah, but who would they trade up for?
Hey, who's gonna be there at 7?
I would take that deal anytime, but it's like they already spent
I'm asking the same question as well, bro. I agree with that question. But that's the same question that the chat is asking, right? Who is the trading partner if we're trading back? I don't know. Maybe the Niners are trading up to get that pick to trade for a quarterback or something like that. That could happen. They get the 5th pick, and they use that to flip for a quarterback, an upgrade from Jimmy G or something. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see after the combine if any QBs spike up. The Broncos could be potential partners. Washington, I don't see them really trading with us.
Oh, I forgot, Edward. You're right. They have Trey Lance.
Yeah,
Do you believe in Trey Lance, though? I don't know. Hamilton? Listen, that's not even the thing. Hazelnut has a question that I wanted to ask you anyway. She said, who do you like for 37, if you got anybody in mind?
37. I mean, I really want to take the Titan from Ohio State. I forget his name.
That's a bit high for him.
I know it's high. I know, but I'm just afraid we're not going to get him just because like our current Titan situation. Who else though? I mean, I have to see who'd fall. I'd want maybe if Wyatt falls, Deontay Wyatt.
Okay. I'd say with the tight ends, bro, tight ends won't really start going till like the 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
We should be able to get them because we got 2 3rd-round picks. Well, now Hirsch, what's up, man? How you doing? I got Manny in here. So Jake, let me get whatever last quick discussion you want to have or question, and then I'll pop Manny in here, bro.
All right. Would you consider trading up?
Ooh, trading up. Now that's for who? That's all. Like who? Who do you have in mind? You got to give me a situation.
That's the only person I trade up for.
Who?
Thibodeau. Yeah.
What is the situation? Like he's falling at 4, and we think the Jets are going to take him, so we call the Jets.
I think the Texans.
At number 3.
Yeah.
Nah, I feel like we just have to go up too much. I feel like we have to go up too much.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Jake, thank you for calling in, bro. Hope to see you again next week.
Yep.
Have a good one, bro.
All right. Yep. You too. Good night.
Real quick before I pop in Manny, and the chat as well. Once again, the link is there for anybody that wants to pop in. 49ers might want to trade up for one of the corners. That's a good one right there. Whether it's Stingley or Sauce. I was gonna say, just trading up in general. I don't think is a thought anybody's having because we need all the picks we can get when it comes to fixing this team. Right? I've said it multiple times. Whenever I went through to look to make mock drafts for the Giants or just do mock drafts in general, I'm kind of always surprised and floored by the fact that we have so many holes on this team. And 9 picks I don't think is enough to fix it, which of course makes sense. You're not gonna fix a team in 1 year. Manny, what's up, bro? How you doing?
What's good, man? How are you, guys?
I'm good. Is that your logo? That's a pretty cool logo.
Yeah, no, it's I've been doing a podcast with Antonio Reyes from Breaking Tackles.
Yeah.
It was his own thing that he was doing for a minute. He never really was able to find anyone consistent, and I've been wanting to get in this game for a minute. Hearing guys like you, Entertainer, Bad Dog, talking Giants dudes, Giants Rush. I'm like, man, I want my own piece of flesh too. So
yeah, let us know right now. Where can we find it?
Yeah, I appreciate that, dude. You can follow my man Antonio at BT Giants. You can follow me at Manny Madrigal 58, and then also we have our YouTube page that we're going to be launching. It's really under his page, but if anything, we're on socials. BT Giants on Facebook, BT Giants on Instagram, man. But I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it's a fun time of the year, right? This is like where it really starts. It's always after the Super Bowl, like that's when the real offseason starts. But this is like kind of like the nice little kickstart to the year end, to the year of the new year. So it's pretty exciting, man. What I haven't been able to get on and listen to you guys. What y'all been talking about?
So, real quick before you do that, let me give a quick shout out because I got a super chat coming in here. Michael R, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, Hub, what do you think about the best right tackle at 5 and Linderbaum at 7, then pay for 2 good, and he puts it in quotation mark, veteran guards and be done with the O-line? So that kind of answers your question a little bit as well, man. We've just been in general talking about the draft, talking about the combine, a little bit about potential trades that could be made. I'm not sure if you got to see the little quotes that kind of were swinging around Giants Twitter today with Joe Schoen and whatnot. Now, I made a video yesterday where I thought the trade that was going to happen or be talked about would be Bradbury, because I think Bradbury, and this was said in the chat as well, he makes way more sense in the trade market than Barkley does. I feel like you could get a lot more value from him, and then also his contract off the books does just more good for us than getting Barkley's contracts off the books. So what do you think about that real quick before I answer the super chat?
Me, man, I feel like those are the 2 big ones right there, you know, Bradbury and Barkley. I feel like there's already consistent dudes that we already kind of all have our mind on that they're going to be cut, you know, Rudolph, sadly Shepard. Not much people have been talking a lot about it, but I think Booker needs to be cut too, because that's a dumb contract.
But the thing is, it helps us out this year though, right? He's only making like $1 million this year or something.
I think if they cut him, like they'll still able to, like they are going to eat some, but they're going to still get $1 million. So I just think just to like if we're to youthen up the running back room, I think that's what it should be. But I mean, there's obviously consistency there. I feel like Bradbury's kind of. I mean, I
don't want Bradbury to be gone, but it's just like you look at the big let's break it down together, right? Look at the big contracts. I think the biggest one on the books is Leo. We literally can't afford to let that man go. Some fans don't realize it, but he's become too valuable in the D tackle room because Gelman built up the D tackle room to where we had a really strong one, but then he tore it down at the same time towards the end of his tenure here.
Leo is showing that, like, yes, okay, maybe he isn't the guy who's going to get 11 sacks a season. Maybe he's not Aaron Darnold, but he's way more capable with good players around him. Like, he's a building block. He's not someone that you should just ship out and eat that cap.
But also, if you look at the numbers other than sacks, he is like top 10, top 5 of his position.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. He's getting tackled. Like, I think if I'm not mistaken, he at one point during the season, he had more tackles on the team than like Aziz, or like a linebacker. Like, I feel like his tackles for a D tackle was.
And when you consider
awesome,
the loss of not only Tomlinson, which a lot of people love to talk about, but I think the bigger one was always BJ Hill, because that's really what killed our depth once BJ Hill got traded. Him and Dexter, both of them had to make up a lot of that dirty work in the middle.
Yeah, and I think hopefully with who you could draft this year, whether it's a Kayvon or if it's a dude in the lower end of the draft like a Cameron Thompson or a Myjai Sanders, Drake Jackson, there's still really, like, this is a deep class because of obviously with COVID and everything and pretty much pushing everything back with the college years and stuff and giving these guys another eligible year. So it's a really deep class in a lot of spots, and DN is one of them. So I think, you know, you get a good DN, Leo will be fun. I also feel like when going right back to Bradbury and Barkley, I feel like a big thing with Bradbury is going to be how do these cornerbacks look? Not necessarily during the combine. If you run a fast 40 as a quarterback, that's pretty important. That's pretty impressive. But it's going to be bigger about, like, because these guys seem to really, like, obviously, for me, the combine is all about just solidifying what the tape looks like. If a dude's fast, he's going to probably run fast. If a dude's strong, he's going to look strong. If he's not fast, he's not strong. Okay, look at the tape. Maybe he's not that gym warrior or whatever the case. But I think that's going to be a big deal. Like, obviously, I think if I'm not mistaken, the DBs are last to perform in the combine. So obviously, I think they're going to definitely have their eyes on Sauce, you know, and then obviously Derek Stingley has all these injury issues and stuff like that. I think if the Giants are going to draft anyone, it's going to be Sauce. And I don't know if I'm right by saying this, but I think a big fact of Bradbury being traded is also depending on how Sauce looks, not just in the combine, but interviews and everything like that as well.
I was literally saying this towards the beginning of the show. Like you said, you weren't like you couldn't hear the beginning. That's something I definitely forgot to mention. Because if you were to talk to me, say just a couple weeks ago, a little bit earlier in the draft process, I was not a guy straight up. I just didn't want to draft a corner at 7 or at 5. Right. I was like I don't see it. I don't think it's a smart move. We have other priorities. Part of me still definitely heavily feels that way. But if we trade Bradbury, and we got good compensation back. Like we got like a third and a fourth or a third and a fifth or something back, which I think is very realistic for a player like James Bradbury.
And it doesn't have to be picks this year. It can be picks next year too. You know, if
I
you get
I
better
would
picks
do it.
next year.
And I would definitely feel comfortable taking Sauce Gardner because I feel like we could then use that or use some of our other picks to trade back up into the first. I'm really looking at a guy like Trevor Penning to be the right tackle if we don't take one with one of those first two picks because from what I've looked at this tackle class, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there's not anybody after Trevor Penning that I trust to come in and be a New York Giants, good starter day one. And you know what? People have made the point to me before, you don't got to be a good starter, let them develop. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. There could be a guy out there like Tyler Smith out of Tulsa who just needs a little bit of development and, give him a year or two and then he'll be a good.
As a guard.
That's a good point. I'm just naming a name, right? Because like I said, the tackle class after Trevor Penning, I really don't like it. But then I fall into the situation where I'm like, well, that's what we did with Matt Pert and we're still waiting for Matt Pert to develop. Granted, he's going to now enter his third year. Maybe he does do something, but I personally and so this is a fault right here. It is a personal thing, right? Maybe it's not that logical. Personally, I just want a guy that could step in and start day one at right tackle.
Right, and but I feel like because I feel like I've been following this draft class since like October because that's how it always is for the Giants fans. October kind of usually ends the season, but I feel like the tackle class isn't bad, outside of Penning. Like I like Abraham Lucas from Washington State. His tape against Kayvon Thibodeau was pretty impressive. He was able to hold his own. Thibodeau didn't wreck the game. And then I also like, Mitchell from Louisiana. I know he Raging Cajuns University or whatever that school is, but I know he's not like obviously these guys aren't at the level of Penning, but these guys are still seasoned, 3-year starters, 4-year starters. And Mitchell came from the same school that our old O-line coach was at.
Oh yeah, I know about both of them because last year, back before I realized Abraham Lucas was actually coming out in 2022, I had us drafting him in like the 6th round. So I've had my eye on Abraham Lucas for about a year now. I mean, with Mitchell, because I liked Elijah Mitchell in last year's draft, and what's his name? Like you were saying, our former O-line's coach is from the Raging Cajuns. I do know both. Yeah, Rob Sale. I do know both of them, and I do like Mitchell a little bit more. Just because it kind of goes with that whole work of what the Raging Cajuns did, specifically with the run game. They were like a really good run game when Elijah Mitchell was there, and a lot of that obviously had to do with the offensive line. It's just that it goes back to what even what you were saying, right? It's like they're not gonna step in and day one be a starter, which isn't necessarily a problem. It's just that how long can we afford for them to not be a day one starter, right?
And I feel, and then maybe in Daboll's scheme, like the Bills didn't have like the top offensive line, not first rounders littered on that offensive line when they were doing their these last 3 seasons. But if anything, it's all about scheming. Like I think that's possible. That's hopefully what they're looking at too, because I do like what they said. I heard Shane during the live Q&A he did. And he was saying that like one of the things that were taught to him the most by Beane is you draft the best players available. You're never going to go wrong with drafting the best players available, not reaching for need. So that makes me feel a little good because once those 2 tackles are off the board, I really, like you said, I don't really see a tackle there worthy at 5 and 7. I would rather just take best player available or trade back and get who's ever there available too. But this is a really sneaky, like this is obviously, I mean, not sneaky anymore because everyone's talking about it, but this offensive line class, like there's even, like I even like Cole Strange from Appalachian State, I think he's from, or from one of those like schools from Tennessee or somewhere. But yeah, I even like him. And then that's and what you're mentioning too about like Lucas and Mitchell being tackles. It's all about who your guard is next to you too. And you guys were talking about free agent guards right before me.
Yeah, so actually,
one guy that
let me use that real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let me use that real quick to go back to the super chat because I don't want to disappear because this directly relates to it. So let me talk about the second part. He's like, how do you feel about paying for 2 good veteran guards? So let's talk about that. I feel like maybe that's you were getting to.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good move. And I think one guy that they're not talking about, or if they talk to, they haven't talked about him enough out there in the sphere. John Feliciano, there's a good chance he may be a cap casualty by the Bills. I think he's a decent guard. I think he would be a guy, you're not going to break the bank for him. He's already gotten the bag twice. I think he comes in and there's familiarity with the O-line coach, there's familiarity with the quarterback coach, the OC, obviously. I think he can come in and be that stability at guard. If nothing else, just be that guy there, keeping it warm for whoever would be the next guard to come in. But a good player, not Matt Skura or
Well, yeah,
Ben
if they cut
Bredesen,
him, I'm definitely
you know?
looking at him for sure. Because
Yeah, like that
I
could
agree
be a
with you.
guy.
He was already on like a 3-year, 12 or 3 or $14 million deal with the Bills. I expect him to sign for at that or less at this point in his career.
And I think that there's still like even if the Giants go, you know, no O line, 5-7. I mean, there's still destined to be a good. There could be a good interior lineman here still available that maybe you don't necessarily need to go and reach for a tackle in the fourth, like you can go and get your tackle in the third round and feel comfortable because at least they're playing next to a capable guard who can start right away, or a rookie who fell into the second round, because that's going to happen. There's going to be players that fall, like it happens every year too, and we're always like, how did this man is here in the second round? I mean, happened with us the last 2 years, getting Xavier, getting Aziz. I think it could happen again. You can't plan for that type of stuff, but if it's there, cool. You know, the draft is always unpredictable.
Yeah. And then now getting to the first part, this is of the super chat. Michael, I'm guessing he just wants to be with the O-line. He wants it to be done in 1 year, which it's very possible. Doesn't necessarily mean it is going to happen. His plan is to take just the best right tackle at 5, Linderbaum at 7, 2 good veteran guards, literally overhauling the entire offensive line in 1 year. How would I feel about that? I've said this before. I mean, listen, if it works out well, and I do think it could work out well, like you get a new right tackle, you get the best center in the class, and hopefully you get 2 veteran guards, then yeah, our O-line on paper should be fixed. We'll see how it does in execution. But my problem with that is I do think if you want to take Tyler Linderbaum, if you're the Giants, you trade down, because I think he's going to be there in the teens. Just centers and interior linemen in general, they last. We saw it last year with Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey, in my opinion, was low key a better prospect than Tyler Linderbaum. A lot of people might not like that, but I'm just saying. And he went at the end of the first. Like he went at the end of the first.
No, he went towards the second. I think he went towards the middle of the second. The Chiefs got him.
Exactly. So it's like I think Tyler Linderbaum. It's not even going to be considered a slip because centers don't even go that high in the first place. But what were you saying? I think you were about to say something about Tyler Linderbaum. And I love Tyler Linderbaum. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think he's just a little bit overrated, because like before I started looking in,
he's the best center in the class for sure.
No question, he's the best center in the class, right? One of the best, if not the best, interior lineman. But the reason I'm saying a little bit overrated, right, is because before I started looking into these prospects, and there's a lot of people that's been watching the channel for a while know, I don't start looking at the draft and prospects until like January, because then I'm done with my regular season coverage and stuff. People were really talking about him like he was the next best thing since sliced bread. And I had several subs telling me he's the best lineman in the class. And I'm just like, I gotta respectfully disagree with that. With both of those points. He's really good, but he doesn't like live up to the hype that people say he lived up to. I definitely think he's gonna be one of the best centers in the league. Or has the potential to be one of the best centers in the league. Let me correct myself. But I think he's gonna be there in the teens, I guess is the point I'm making. I would trade down to get Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, I would be happy trading down for him too. It's crazy. We haven't really talked much about our center position because, I mean, I kind of still have penciled in. Maybe it's more heart with head, but that Gates will. I don't know how likely that's going to be. But yeah,
they said it was a terrible injury though, right? It might be 2 years.
He looked pretty good like in that one video of him working out and stuff, and he's a dog, So who knows? But I mean, I've been. Like I said, I've been following this draft now for a minute, but I mean, Linderbaum's nice. I don't think he's the best interior lineman in this draft. I would give that to Kenyon Green. But I think Linderbaum would be a nice pick if it's a team pick, like a later in the draft pick. I don't necessarily like the idea of just going for a right tackle 5th overall, because who's on the board? Who are you leaving on the board?
Well, I'm gonna say this right now. If my guy Akeem Ekwonu's on the board, I'm definitely taking him.
Take him. Yeah. If Kayvon's on the board, you take him. The only way you don't take Kayvon is if like one of those tackles is on the board too. That's the only way. And
I'll say this might, I don't know how people would feel about this. I'm taking Kayvon no matter who's on the board. But if Akeem is on the board, it's definitely a decision that I'm sitting and thinking about. I just think this man has the tools to be like an all-pro, one of the best tackles in the league. Because you have a guy that has like the violentness is a word? No, the aggressiveness, the violent get off, and the strength of Mekhi Becton without the weight problems. like without the weight problems. And people talk about how he's raw. Yeah, he's raw, but he's not raw to the point where it's like it's gonna take him a long time to learn everything. He's a smart guy. He actually while I was doing my research on him, the dude had a Harvard scholarship that he turned down to pursue football. So he's gonna pick up on these things really quickly. Like I got all the faith in him.
Brother went to Notre Dame. I mean, our brother's in Notre Dame. I mean, he comes from a smart family. He comes from a family of athletes too. Like he was a wrestler in high school, which you love in an offensive lineman. Mom played track and field.
Wrestling is super underrated for offensive linemen, man. People don't know how much it helps them out.
I wrestled for 9 years, and
I was on my high school wrestling
team. Holla, hell yeah,
yeah.
I can tell you got that grit. But but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, the heavyweights on good wrestling teams are ballerinas. You know, so you put them on the football field, it's that balance that they show, and obviously the toughness and being able to learn.
Wrestling helps so much with like your hip flexibility and stuff, your mobility, like just everything.
People liked, and I think actually going back to it, that's probably why people like Linderbaum, because that video of him pinning Wirfs.
Yeah,
I think that probably entice people. But yeah, no, wrestlers are awesome. We can get into that later. That's a real much madness. But yeah, no, yeah, I think I feel. I mean, best case scenario was going to happen to us is like the 4 best players that we all are dreaming and salivating of theirs probably not going to be there at 5. How would you feel about if they do take Hamilton? Because if we're going off best player available, that would be the best player available at that point. And also, I think he's going to test crazy in the draft, which is and in the combine, which makes me hope that obviously gets a team to want to get him before. Because if he goes 3, we're getting one of those players that we want. Or he goes 3 or 4. If he goes top 4, we're getting one of those players.
Before I answer that, let me answer this super chat that came in while you were speaking from Danny Thomas, $5 super chat. He says, thoughts on drafting Jalen Petre, free safety from Baylor, can cover tight ends patrolling center field. He could play the box and is very good at blitzing. Going to be completely transparent with you. Haven't looked into the guy. Jalen Petre, I might be mispronouncing the name, out of Baylor. Have you looked into him?
Yeah, he's I think he played safety, but he has the body type to be able to go both ways. Like he's kind of like an Isaiah Simmons to an extent, but like a little.
Go ahead. You know what? Go ahead and just give us a little breakdown of him and where would you take him? Not if you're the Giants, just any team.
Jalen Petre, I think if you need like a safety who can play, who can cover, but also is good against the run and has good coverage skills, and Baylor has a really good defensive system as well too. I think he would be a good player to get. I think he's like a 3rd rounder, maybe the end of the 2nd round. Like if the Chiefs let Matthew go, I could see the Chiefs drafting him. Any team that can use like a safety, that can use like any type of secondary help at all, or that just needs like defense. Like I can see the Jets, if they don't go Hamilton in the 3rd or 4th overall, whenever he drops, if they can draft him, I can see them maybe getting him. Because I think they're going to have a need at safety with May gone. So any team that would need a safety, that would need like a good coverage safety that also, has that flexibility to be in the box as a linebacker, he would be a good pick. Like he's the 2nd best safety in this class.
He's the 2nd best safety?
I would say he's the 2nd best safety in this class.
Hold up.
Second best.
Ahead of Dax? You would have him ahead of Dax?
Ooh, yeah. That's the thing with Dax. Like I saw him lining up in slot.
Oh yeah, he was lining up
safety.
Yeah.
He's a hybrid. He's very good as well. Like for me, I know it's always the combine isn't the be all end all, and it's more about solidifying the tape. But I think it matters when someone on your defensive side, specifically in the secondary, runs a sub 440. I think that matters. That translates for sure. Like if Sauce runs a 440, I don't care what we do 5th overall. I want him at 7. I think
here's the thing I always have with combine, not the combine, with just the 40 time, right? Sometimes game speed doesn't translate to a 40-yard dash. Like didn't we see that with I think it was Jamar Chase at his pro day, right? His 40-yard dash disappointed a lot of people, but obviously we see at the NFL level the dude is fast. He outruns like most defenders. So like I'm just saying, sometimes it doesn't translate.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but then another case, like to counteract that, I mean, Justin Jefferson didn't look like a burner or anything like that, or didn't look much of a burner in college, and then he runs a sub 440, and now in he's had 2 seasons in the NFL, both sub 1,000-yard receiving yards. I mean, he's a beast. He's a beast. It translates for him, but I get what you're saying as far as like it's not Like it's not it isn't the be all end all, but I think in some way it does translate, specifically more with cornerbacks, like especially cornerbacks and outside corners, safeties. Like if you run a sub 440, I think that translates well. But
Yeah.
obviously, all this isn't supposed to be the be all end all. It's just supposed to solidify what you've seen on tape.
So then let's go back to the question you were asking before. Can you rephrase it for people that didn't hear it? Also, we got 75 people watching right now, guys. Hit that like button. And if you do want to call in to share your own thoughts or start a discussion, go ahead and do so.
So we were talking about
the previous question, I think, was I was just saying restate it for the new people that popped in.
We were just mentioning, about combine and not translating to, necessarily in the NFL and on play and stuff, and it can translate. I think personally the 40 matters more to like the receivers, running backs a bit, but more or less it's for the secondaries that run fast 40s. That holds a lot of weight for me, especially in their tape. Like if you see Sauce Gardner, he's a blanket.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, I just saw his tape yesterday versus Alabama because I saw the Bobby Skinner tweet, so I wanted to see the tape, and he was a dog.
Sauce is probably the best corner in this class.
Yeah, without a doubt. Maybe Stingley has more talent, but it didn't show. And
Stingley also has a little bit of an injury history.
Plus, and I know everyone mentions like it's Cincinnati. Like who was he going against? Memphis does have good, does have good wide receivers and does produce good running backs, in the past before. They've done that. He played last year against Georgia, who's going to have a dude drafted in the 3rd round in Pickett and George Pickens, the wide receiver. Obviously this year they played Notre Dame, they played Alabama, and he's still, no touchdowns given in college. That's insane to me.
We did draft somebody before that had the same thing, didn't we?
It was a Webster.
No, it was DeAndre Baker.
Listen, I didn't look at Baker. I wasn't in the weeds.
No, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just saying that just to throw that in there.
Was he a dude that?
Yeah, coming out of college, I don't think he let up a touchdown.
I know he won the award for best DB, but
it was either it was one of two things. It was either he didn't let up a touchdown in 2 years or something like that, or his entire career. One out of the two.
Yeah, I feel like it was closer to the other year, but nonetheless, obviously those boys were good prospects.
Mm-hmm.
But then we see the the draft process and everyone evaluating not just him as a player, but as a person and everything else, and everything came to light and went from there. So hopefully everything that Shane and Daboll is talking about isn't just smoke, and they're actually gonna make sure that they do their due diligence and not put a draft pick on somebody who there's question marks with. Because I think. Let me ask you this another question real quick. And I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for having me on.
No problem, man. I appreciate everybody that calls in, because believe it or not a lot of people call in. A lot of people love to watch, but maybe it's nerves or something. Not too many people call in.
I was nervous the first time I came on one of these, and now doing it like several times after, it's a lot more comfortable, and you're personable, so that helps. But
thank you.
Do you think when you look at man, you made me forget this question.
While you remember that, shout out to Ash in the chat. What's up? How you doing? Everybody else here. People saying who's dropping? What do you mean by who's dropping? Oh, I think that might be referring to your the question you had a couple minutes ago when I answered super chat. You were saying if somehow Kyle Hamilton drops to 5, do I take him? Is what the question was, I think.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that was my question that I asked. If you did drop, if he was there at 5,
in that situation, give me who goes the top 4.
I think it would be number 1 Neal, 2 Aiden to to Detroit, excuse me. Houston, Kayvon. I think the Jets would take Akeem at that point.
Damn.
I know, like I could see the Jets and the Texans are teams that I can see doing different things. I can see them going for an edge. I can see them going for a tackle, but I can also see them going for a defensive player in the secondary.
Now, I'm one of the very few people. I do think that Charles Cross is a good tackle, and I do think that he is a starting right tackle, and I do think that yes, he is the 3rd best tackle in this class. So I have no problem taking him at 5. But I also recognize that Kyle Hamilton is a better player and better prospect than Charles Cross. So it really
I
does.
think
It really does come down to like, if I'm taking somebody there, it's between those two. And like you know that I'm a very big offensive line guy, so I am heavily considering Charles Cross. He's been facing a lot of flack recently too, on YouTube and on Twitter from Giants fans in general. And I'm also definitely looking to trade down. I am, because I know there's somebody that probably wants Kyle Hamilton, and they might give me a good haul for him. But yeah.
And I mean, we're talking about filling in holes. Who's not to say like a team
Like safety
fills a
isn't
hole, like wants
safety,
to trade him.
and I know Kyle Hamilton isn't just a safety. You know, nobody needs to read me the act on that. But as a position, right? We have so many other holes to fill that I'm like, if we could get other picks through a trade down, I'm definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this whole class, like when you started talking, I just started thinking about Logan Hall from Houston, who's probably going to be a second, third rounder. He's a guy that like is not getting nearly as much, spotlight as he should, and he's a beast. Like he's a dude who's a rusher who can rush from the inside or outside, on the defensive line. Like this class is. I feel like we say this every year, but this year seems like it really is deep. Like you guys were talking about tight ends.
It's really deep
earlier,
on the defensive side of the ball specifically,
but
man.
even on the offensive side, like there's a chance the Giants can draft like starting tight end in the 4th round, and
I agree with you.
Starting running back in the 5th round.
I agree with you. I agree. People looked at me sideways in my mock draft when I did that, but I could 100% see several starting tight ends being available in the
Rucker,
4th or 5th. Yeah. Jeremy Rucker, don't be surprised, people, if he goes in the 4th round. Like, it would be a steal of a value, but I could see it happening.
Like the Ferguson kid from Wisconsin, he's a pretty decent prospect as well. Good size on him.
Ferguson, he's a dude that could develop into a starter. But yeah, once again, he's going in the 4th or 5th as well, in my opinion. And then at the running backs, right?
Oten.
Bro, the running back, you got Hassan Haskins, who's going in the 4th or 5th. Jerome Ford, who's going in the 4th or 5th. That kid out of Florida, Dameon Pierce, I could see him. He's a little bit more. Maybe he goes in the 3rd, but once again, also 4th or 5th. It's a big range.
The dude from Alabama, Robinson, Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think he could be a 4th, 5th rounder as well. You also got that one dude, Raquad White from Arizona.
Mm-hmm. James Cook, Hirsch just put in there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Zamir White as well from Georgia.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah. No, it's a deep class, and thank God we finally have some eyes that know how to look at talent in this time frame. This is the best class for us to finally do the change that we've been all wanting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did name Haskins. Mike B.
What do you think about Daniel Jones and Saquon as far as their futures? Obviously, Daniel Jones is going to.
I'm glad you asked this.
The 5th year.
I'm glad you asked this.
Yeah.
You know why I'm glad you asked this? Because I was thinking about it today. I'm like, at least.
Has anyone else asked?
Nobody else asked it, but I was thinking about it before I went live, right? So like on the train ride home, I was thinking about it. I'm like, they've committed so much, and like every single quote, every single tweet, just every single piece of information we gotten out of the Giants organization and camp and whatever has been a commitment to Daniel Jones and Saquon up until today with the Saquon one where, Joe Schoen said he's open to anything, right? He used the words anything. Right. Anything's on the table.
I hate it. And real quick, I just wanted to say I hate the people that tweeted that comment and then put Kadarius Toney's picture right next to it. Like, he's not being traded.
Bro.
Stop that.
We gonna get into that in a second. And Kayla, I do see you back here, so I'm gonna pop you on in about 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you for trying. We'll see if the mic works or whatnot. And we're gonna get to KT because I had to make a whole video on that as well. I'm really annoyed by the fact that people want to trade a rookie, bro. Like, why? But that, like I said, that's for later. So getting back to what Joe Schoen said today, I'm just like, I'm getting a lot of Odell Beckham situation vibes from this man. We say we're committed to the guy. We say we're committed to the guy up until a moment when all of a sudden you're actually questioning it, and then we do trade him. Like, I'm just getting that type of feeling and that type of vibes. Not necessarily with Jones, but definitely with Saquon. Because they were committed to Saquon up until that little comment. I'm not saying that they're not anymore, but
I was gonna say
I'm just kind of getting they're letting us believe that, and maybe that could happen. But we'll see.
Your preference, would he be on the team?
Listen, I'm a little biased, I admit it, but I do want Saquon to stay here. Listen, if we're getting a 3rd or better, then all right, he goes. But if we're not getting a 3rd or better, then I think you keep him. I say let's see what he does under under Brian Daboll. Let's see what he does under hopefully a better O-line. And if he's trash or you're not trash, or he's injured again, then you just let him go, let him sign somewhere else.
That's the thing I think that stings for fans is that's
because
been happening for a minute.
They're tired of letting players just go.
Yeah, not getting anything for it, Mm-hmm. And I think his value would be higher right now than in the season.
Oh, absolutely. If you think about it, Saquon's value is at an all-time low because of the fact that he got re-injured during the season, right? Like, it's better to trade him now if they do want to trade him than to trade him during, say, the trade deadline next year.
Because a team's gonna want him for training camp and for the whole season, not just for like the last 8 games or whatever.
And then also in addition to that, I said this on DJ, I'm gonna say it on Saquon as well. Whatever decision they have to make with these guys, I believe they need to make it soon. So I feel like if they're in just the headspace of we don't know what to do with Barkley, then trade him. Don't waste time on it. Yeah. Trade him before his value potentially goes down more. Same thing with Daniel Jones, right? I said it earlier in the offseason, even though they seem super committed to him. I'm like, do it before the value goes down and you're going to get like pennies on the dollar from him.
Right. I think if anything with Saquon, let me ask you, because I think the biggest thing is just the cap. Do you think Saquon, do you think trading Saquon, maybe for some picks, but for like a player, like a good starting offensive lineman, a good defensive end, defensive tackle, and a pick, would that be something that you're more enticing if they can't get that third or higher?
Well, you say good, but then you also say developmental. I think those are two different things.
Well, I meant to say good. I messed up on that word.
Listen, if we're getting a good O-lineman, then yeah. And when I say good, I mean somebody that could start, right?
Right, yeah, which isn't saying much. There's not every starter in the NFL on a good O-line is.
Let them be better than Will Hernandez. How about that?
That's not for sure. I love Will Hernandez. I really wish it would have worked out better for him, but so he'll probably sign with the Raiders or something like that on a prove-it deal, ball out, and then get his contract, get the bag later.
Somebody asked if and shout out to Matt Rogers, a Packers fan in here. Somebody asked if we should trade for Zadarius Smith, and then Matt Rogers, a Packers fan, says don't trade for Zadarius. Nobody ever comes back from those injuries, so take that as you will. I'm not trading for an edge rusher. I'm either drafting. No, I'm not either. I am drafting one. We just talked about how deep this class is. This draft class is on the defensive side. The edge rushing class is pretty deep, very deep. Right. I'm drafting one of those guys.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I do get enticed with the whole Hassan Reddick talk, and then Chandler Jones is going to be a free agent, but we don't have the cap for it anyways, and I think with those types of positions, this regime is really going to want to put their guys in those spots. Obviously the most important positions in football: quarterback, offensive line, edge rush. I think they're going to want to get their guys in there. And they already have one of their guys in there. Or not one of their guys, but a guy who I think and you and I think and everyone thinks on the Giants fandom that he's going to be really good, Andrew Thomas. So you already have part of the offensive line solidified in that sense. Just keep building it. See what you got in DJ. If he ain't worth anything, send him back to North Carolina and then, go through the process of looking for your guy. And then obviously, hopefully this year they get their guy at edge.
So let's see. So Manny, I'm gonna pop you out to see if Kayla's mic work. I'm not gonna ask you to leave yet. If it doesn't, I'm gonna just pop you back in. So Kayla, if you're back there, I'm gonna pop you in right now. Let's see if your mic works. It does say that your mic is muted, so you're gonna need to unmute it. Oh no, I'm not hearing you. But once again, it says it's muted on your side. Okay. Technical issues, that's all good. Hopefully you can figure it out later on.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Hey, shout out Kayla in that gamer chair.
Yeah, that was, right? Wasn't it? Yeah.
I only saw the outline, but it looked similar to yours, but hers was purple outlined. But
I don't know if you know Lauren on YouTube. She got sports. We have the same gamer chair. I don't know if Lauren actually games though, but I do.
I mean, I can't say I game. I mean, I play Madden. Madden and WWE 2K are the only games I really get into like that.
Bro, the last good 2K game was 2K19 on the WWE side. No, it's all Kayla, it's all good. Don't apologize for it. No, I said 2K19 was the last good one from them.
Yeah, the last one. I think Was that the one with AJ Styles on it?
Yeah, that was the one with Styles on the cover.
That's the last one I got. I didn't get the other one, so I don't know. But yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, no, the other one was an entire glitchy mess. Let's not even get into that. That's not that stream. But that entire one was a glitchy mess. And because of how bad that was, they didn't even make a 2K21. So, yeah.
No, I mean, shoot. Well, I'll just say this really, real quick. But I love professional wrestling is awesome. It's funny. That's how I became a Giants fan, was through professional wrestling.
Was it like, how old are you? Was it when LT appeared on WWF
29.
or something?
That's it. I'm 29, but I saw I was 95. I wasn't too young, but I remember I got into wrestling as I was growing up, and then I was in middle school. I heard of the Giants because I was born in Long Island, so I've heard of the Giants. I've known of their name. I've known of the name Lawrence Taylor, but my mom and dad are Costa Rican, so they never raised us as New Yorkers. We were raised as Costa Ricans and stuff.
I get that.
So I never, So I mean, I really got in. So I remember watching wrestling DVDs, and one of them being WrestleMania 11, and seeing Lawrence Taylor come out, and just the aura and just the mystique he had.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I gotta look.
And LT, he came on when he appeared. I'm way too young, but I know what happened. It was with other Giants defensive players too, as well, if I remember correctly.
It was Harry Carson. No, not Harry Carson. I think it was like they had like pretty much it was Kim versus, and I don't want to get much in this because I know it's not the space for this, but it was him versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam Bigelow had him and his dudes from the $1 Million Army, bunch of the bad guys, King Kong Bundy, IRS, Kamala, all those guys. Or Mustafa, Supreme Fighting Machine, and then they had on the other side it was the NFL. It was NFL players like the president for the Lions. He was there. Chris Spielman, a former wrestler himself, Mongo McMichael, number 58, Carl Banks. There was a few other the former defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. So they kind of had that going. They were just dudes on the outside. Yeah, Lawrence Taylor was a beast. I had he was really good. I'll just say that and watching him, and then following him, like watching him on YouTube videos, and I'm like, man, seeing this dude was a monster. And then following the team, by that time there was Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, O.C. Manura, Eli Manning was coming into his 4th year. Tiki Barber had left, so they got Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw, who was just drafted. Like, it was easy for me to be a fan. And then shortly after that, they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. They do it again a few years later. Now my daughter and wife will always and forever rep Giants.
No, I'm with you there, man. That's a long fandom too, man. 95 to now, and now we've been in 10 years of just nothingness. It is what it is.
Yeah, but it helps that even how bad the Giants have been in the last 15, 16 years, the only team to win more Super Bowls than them have been the Patriots. So when everyone wants to talk about like how bad the Giants have been and this and that, there's not like any other team that are like. The Cowboys certainly ain't. The Eagles got one, and the Commodores, yeah. Let's leave it at that.
I call them the commies, but the Commodores, isn't that a type of a bird or something?
I just know it off the band.
Oh, heard you.
The group. I think a Commodore is like an actual like a some type of dude that leads a ship, like on a boat.
Oh, I thought it was like a bird or a plane. I might be wrong on that one.
Either way, the Washington Commodores are trash.
Yeah. But DB,
I heard that,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I heard that they're probably going to really aggressively try to sign Mitchell Trubisky, who was a guy that I think a lot of Giants fans wanted as a backup. I know I wanted him as a backup.
Oh yeah, we could get into that. But DB from EP says slowly gearing up to see Saquon get traded. We'll see what happens, man. I guess that's all I gotta say at this point. We'll see what happens. And Matt Rogers says, you guys think you'll move on from Daniel Jones since we're not picking up the 5th-year option? Okay, so I think it's a smart decision to not pick up the 5th-year option. I've said that this is what they should do for a while now. It doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna move on from him. I think it's literally just a wait and see approach. It's the same thing with Saquon, right? Like if he balls out, all right, fine, extend him. If he doesn't ball out, all right, just let him walk. Draft your next quarterback or sign your next quarterback or whatever. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, I think the same thing as well. I think it was a smart move for them not to get that 5th-year option. And I think, you're in a good spot no matter what happens. If he balls, cool. Franchise tag him. The Giants will be in way better cap situation next year. And it can continue to get better when you let guys off the books that aren't going to kill you this year. So you'll have that. And if he isn't good, you have no money tied to him. You're not the Panthers that are signing Darnold and looking for another starter. you can go into the draft, you can go into free agency, whatever this team is going to want to do, whatever the guys in the front are going to want to do. So I think it opens it up for them. But obviously the people are like, what if he just has an okay season? Like, okay, well, what's okay? Like, what's an okay season for him? What's like an okay season for the Giants? Like, just barely out of the playoffs, and he throws like 25 touchdowns, 11 picks, 5 fumbles. Would that be worth re-signing him? I think it'd have to be like, I think he has to at least score 30 touchdowns, and I'm talking legs and hands, throwing and running.
Mm-hmm.
At least 30 to at least have a conversation about giving him the franchise tag. As far as re-signing him, he would have to be an MVP.
I'm glad. I was like, I'm not sure where you're going with this, but I agree a lot with that last part out there. Real quick, shout out to Duran Osman, Raymond Roland in here, 2 members, along with Aiden Forbidden Chief. And I think I got everybody else in there. There was no need to delete that message. Oh, Mike B deleted it. Mike B, there was no need to delete that. That was kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie to you. It is what it is, though. Daniel Jones needs to ball out in every sense in the word for me to want to resign this man. He cannot have a just okay season. He cannot have any type of season that he's had with us thus far in his first 3 years with the Giants. My bad on that.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be a top 15 quarterback for us to resign him. Some people might say that's a little harsh. No, top 16, right? Some people might say that's a little harsh or whatever. But right now, dude is like,
fine.
Yeah, like that's just fine. Like top 16, like harsh would be me saying top 5. No, top 16, bro. That's average and above average. Be that.
And
He's
honestly,
been below average his career so far.
And honestly, Kush, even if he does have the productivity of a top 15, top 10, top 5 quarterback, I would still be inclined to give him the franchise tag and be like, show us one more year.
Oh yeah, in that case, I think I'd give him the franchise tag for sure before I actually extend him.
I think you gotta unless he has like Patrick Mahomes' first year starting numbers, then you probably should re-sign him because that's just not a blimp, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of guys that are throwing 50 touchdowns and then next year falling off the cliff. But that's the thing. That's Mount Everest as far as like expectations for DJ. So my expectations for him is just he'll be better, which isn't saying much. He'll be better than he was the last 2 years. He'll be comparable, and let's just see what the rest of the team does too, because it's not just on him.
Like I mean, it's like I can't put an exact number on it, but like I need at least 4,000 touchdowns. I need at least like 4,000 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 4,000 yards. I need at least like 28 touchdowns, less than 15 picks, and like less than like 7 fumbles. Why did I say I said 10 because that's not a normal quarterback standard. That's the Daniel Jones standard. Less than 5 fumbles or something like that. And that is right. Kind of a leap.
Yeah, I agree as well. And I think that's I think definitely he just needs to be able to show that the issues maybe were more, because there's people that think he just isn't good, but then there's also people that will agree that the coaching was bad and the front office was bad, but that he still wasn't good. I think he just needs to prove that he was a product of his environment, especially the last 2 years. If he can show that in ball, because this for sure going to be the best coaching staff he's had since college. You know, hopefully this will be the best offensive line he's played with in the NFL, even with rookies.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the core around him stays healthy. You know, KG, KT, Darius Slayton, if he's still on the team, whoever the tight end is, whoever the running back is, hopefully those guys are healthy around him. Obviously, if all that stays good, then I think he puts himself in for a good spot. I don't think it's really crazy to say that the Giants can't make the playoffs just because the NFC is not going to be as deep as it was last year. Team like the Eagles weren't great and they made it. Granted, they have a good O-line, good D-line. I just think that the Giants, if everything, you know, stars align, I don't think they'll be a bad team. I think if nothing else, you just got to keep your eye on the Giants if you're another team going against the Giants in that division or in that conference in general.
I'll definitely agree with the last part because I'm just kind of through with putting high expectations on them, and I'm like, let me just see good football at this point, right? So Caleb, pop back in. Let me see if the devices are working. Otherwise, you know the deal, man. I'll keep you on. There's also AB back here as well, but his devices, it says device is not connected. But let's see if this works. It still says you're muted, so I'm not sure what's happening there. Can I hear you? Cannot hear you. So, with that being said, let me get AB on actually, man, because he's been back here for a minute,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
But I want to thank
Fish,
you for calling in, man.
appreciate
It
you.
was great.
No, man, I appreciate you, man. I can't wait to do it again. And yeah,
Hey, have a good one.
Blanche,
Guys, check him
going.
out, Breaking Tackles Podcast.
Thank you very much.
AB, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
So, I just realized one thing I didn't get to talk about with Manny was the Kadarius Toney thing. If you want to talk about that, how it's ridiculous that that's even an idea, or you got something else?
We could talk about KT.
All right,
I think KT is a future superstar. And
I agree with you.
These fans,
I may joke a lot by calling him the best wide receiver in the league, but I legitimately think this man has potential to be like a superstar wide receiver in the league.
yeah, I think the reason why most of the fan base doesn't like him is because of his rap career or something like that. Because the second he came in, he didn't even play yet. They was like, oh, he's a rapper, he's not serious. But I think that's far from the case. I think he could be like a top 5 wide receiver for a long time if he stays healthy.
It's they believe that he's distracted, which is of course a narrative we've heard before with another Giants wide receiver, and I feel like fans just kind of need to get out the mindset of history repeating itself, I guess you should say, or like stop taking expectations that you had for a former player and putting them on a new guy that we drafted here that wants to be here, and literally everything he does, fans are taking and turning against him. He went to the Rams game to support his boy Van Jefferson, and they were like, getting on him for wearing a Rams scarf. Like, he's there to support his friend and his college teammate, and all you guys are doing is driving this guy away from the Giants. Like, come on.
Ridiculous. He muted his Twitter. He doesn't want to talk to us. Like, that's not good. Like, I don't think that's I don't think that's like his character. I think it's just like the fan base just bashing him over and over. Like,
it's something very similar with Jalen Reagor with the Eagles. It's not Jalen Reagor's fault he got drafted before Justin Jefferson, but Eagles fans clowned him so much that he muted his Instagram account his rookie year.
Yeah, but I mean, he can't catch, so that's his fault.
Yeah. I mean, and that's another thing, right? We saw when Toney was healthy, bro, teams couldn't stop him.
Yeah,
defenses couldn't stop him. That is different from Reagor. Defenses could not stop him against the Saints and against the Cowboys, man.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints. Yeah, they couldn't. He was barely getting the ball during the Saints game too, and he had like 71 yards on like 8 catches. Like, that's serious. And the Cowboys game was just insane. Like, if you see that game and you're telling me he's not serious, like, that's ridiculous. Like, he was crossing up the top cornerback in the league, who was it, Trevon Diggs, supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly the top cornerback in the league.
Like, he was cooking them. It was like he was playing Madden. Like, you can't like lose that talent over his rap career or something like that. You can't blame it on his rap career. But anyway, I came in here to talk about Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna go. And the one place I wanted to go is the Ravens. And I think we could get what's the name, Zeitler back. We could like send him and like
that would be a hilarious trade, bro. That would actually be a hilarious trade. Saquon to the Ravens for Kevin Zeitler. But isn't Zeitler's contract going to be up this year?
No, I think he just signed one last year.
Was he a free agent? Oh, yeah, he was a free agent last year. Yeah, you're right. For some reason, I thought we traded him to the Ravens. But that would be... You can't deny, bro. That would be hilarious.
I mean, Zeitler's like a top... Like,
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. It's just funny.
I mean, sure, whatever. Or he could go to the Rams for like a second because they overpay players. Like, didn't they pay a first?
But the Rams, they have a good running back group over there. They do. I don't think they'd want Saquon. They have like a run by committee thing, and it's been working.
Ooh, they had a good D-line, and they still got the guy from the Broncos.
I mean...
Or he could go to the 49ers, too. Even though they got Daboll,
49ers, they got... Yeah, I could actually see 49ers. They love using just the run plays in general.
Yeah, and Saquon would be perfect for that scheme. So anyway, final thing I want to talk about is Daniel Jones. I think he will be a top 10 quarterback next year. And most people will be like, oh, you crazy. But like his first 3-4 games, he was elite. Like Loki was like top 5. Like people were talking about him until Andrew Thomas went out. Everything went downhill. So I think this year, if he has a good O-line and a good scheme, which Daboll will bring, I think he will thrive. And he will get that Supermax contract the year after.
Listen, Andrew Thomas, we all know how we feel about this man. Super Max, I don't know about that. But he has 2 more years before we extend them, right? Because he still has the 5th year option as well. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about extending or even, a new contract for Thomas until, like 2025, basically. And by that point,
I
we
mean,
probably already have an extension in place. But, I definitely see him as a part of the team's
we
future.
could get him for cheap right now.
He's not going to sign for cheap right now because he knows it will be
Now, like,
cheap.
that Cowboys, the guy in the Cowboys, he signed like a 10-year contract, and it was like, what, 20 mil, 10 mil,
Yeah,
something like that.
you think it's realistic that we're giving him an offer that's 10-year contract?
No, I'm just saying, like, we could give him a long-term contract, and it won't be that expensive.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We could offer it to him, but he knows his value. He knows that it will be better for him as a player to not start the contract negotiations until his 4th year in, because that way he'd be worth more.
I mean, who knows? Like, he's injury prone, kind of. He's always injured, 2 years in a row. Like, he might just take that
He
contract.
missed how many games? Like, how many games did he miss? Like his rookie
Now,
year, he missed
his
like
rookie
what,
year,
2?
his ankle, he was playing on a bad ankle,
Yeah, he
but
was playing on the bad ankle. So I mean, injury prone, I guess, is a title you could give to him, but he ain't missing too many games. He's been I think he missed a total of 5 in his career so far.
but
And plus, yeah, going back to it, yeah, he's not even that's the word I was looking for. He's not even eligible for a contract extension yet.
yeah, in the first part, I was not talking about Thomas. I was talking about Daniel Jones getting a Supermax. That's what I was talking about before.
Oh, my bad. Why didn't you correct me earlier then? That's me.
I know, but
That's
I
my
just
bad.
wanted to talk about Thomas.
So which one do you want to
But
talk about right now? Thomas or Jones?
Jones. Let's talk about Jones.
Okay.
So I say he'll be a top 10 quarterback, and
I'm franchise
yeah.
tagging him.
So yeah. So I mean, there's not much else to say about that. Let's go
Yeah.
to the draft. I think this draft. I mean, I don't think we're drafting a lineman with the 5th pick. I think that's either trade back or Kayvon. But if like Ekem is there, then probably. But for the most part, I think we trade him back both picks actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's his name? Joe Schoen said he wants like a lot of swings at the bat, and since it's a deep draft, we could get a bunch of pieces.
It's definitely a possibility for sure that we trade back both picks. There's nothing really for me to disagree with here. I could see it happening, especially if there's at both picks, like at 5, there's nobody there that they really want. I don't think anybody should force a pick. If Shane is in a position where he's like, it feels like I'm forcing a pick and he trades back, then that's the right move for both of them. We'll see what happens though. I definitely think we're trading back at least one, but we'll see if draft day comes. And like a lot of people have been saying, we got to find partners to do it, right? So we'll see.
So, and this is my hot take. Like, I think Jermaine Johnson is going over Thibodeau. I think a team would draft him over Thibodeau.
That's definitely a hot take. That's
yeah, I think he flew up the
smoking
draft
hot
board.
take.
I think he flew up the draft boards this time, and
He flew up the
I see
draft
him.
boards in the Senior Bowl, going from like a 2nd-round player to like a mid-first.
No,
But you're
I think
talking
he's
about
top
going
10
to a
now.
top 5 player right now. I don't see that happening.
The Jets might take him at 10. So if
Why
a
do
team
you
wants
say
to
that?
jump for him,
But
I
that's
mean, I was
at
watching
10.
this.
So you're saying Kayvon would slip past 10?
Oh no, but I'm saying if a team had an option like the Giants, I think we will be taking Jermaine Johnson over Kayvon.
Why?
I don't know. I just like Joe Schoen and his love of the what's it called, the what's it called, the pro, no, what's the rookie thing called again? The whatever, the thing where the rookies work out and stuff. I think he values that a lot more. So I think he might see that film and
I mean,
pick
well,
higher.
in both aspects, Kayvon blows Jermaine out the water in athleticism, in measurements, in analytics, and in tape. He blows Jermaine Johnson out the water.
I just feel like Jermaine's going higher. I think he just flew up like last
No,
year.
I
Who was
mean,
that guy?
I could agree with that statement. But what you said earlier was that he's going ahead of Thibodeau, which implies going
I
in the
think he
top
could
5.
go ahead of Thibodeau.
That's what I disagree with. I don't see that happening.
I feel like it could. Like last year, we thought a bunch of players were not. We thought what's his name? We thought Waddle would be the third wide receiver, but he went second. He was the second wide receiver drafted.
Well,
So something happened.
hold up. That's a terrible example to use because the split for wide receiver last year was always a rotation between the three. There were people who thought Waddle was the best. There were people who thought Waddle was the second best, and people who thought Waddle was the third, and the same for the other two. So that's a terrible example.
Yeah, right now I think Jermaine Johnson is either 2 or 3 in edges.
What do you see in him that makes you say that? I gotta ask. Like, what do you see in him that makes you say that?
His power, his speed, like
he's not really known too much for his power, speed. Yeah.
I mean, he flat. I mean, he pancaked that old lineman. I think.
Yeah, but that's just one play, right? We could say that Jamari Salyer pancaking Aiden Hutchinson makes him the best tackle in the class, even though he's gonna be like a guard.
Yeah, and I also think Jermaine Johnson could cover. Like, since he used to be a linebacker, he could go back, and that's like, isn't that basically what what's his name again? The defensive coach wants. He wants like versatile players.
We don't know because he hasn't spoken yet, so I can't answer that question.
I mean, I think that's his scheme. Like, he likes players dropping back.
He likes players that could drop back, or like from what we've seen, his edges, want to drop back. But we've seen him with, for example, Terrell Suggs when he began. The Terrell Suggs is not somebody that go and drop back, right? We've seen him work with those guys before. But even then, while I agree with what you're saying, Jermaine can drop back, it doesn't take away from the fact that Kayvon could also drop back.
I think his experience as a linebacker makes him a better player to like drop back in coverage.
Okay.
And I mean, who knows? I think it will come down to like the talks, like who they think is the more responsible guy. I think that will be the difference between them two.
Mm-hmm.
And I have another hot take. I think Nakobe Dean is falling to the second round, and maybe we could pick him up. Either Dean or Thibodeau. No, Dean or what's his name? The center. Lindenbaum is going to fall to the second, and I think we could grab one of them.
If either of them are there, I'm like running up the board, bro. That's all I'm saying. I'm running up the board to take them. If either of them are there.
I think they're both going to fall to the second. Because, what's his name? Aziz was supposed to be a top 10 pick, like a top 15 pick, and he fell too. So, I think, for the most part, Lindenbaum
I'm just going to say, though, once again, context, though, right? Aziz was in what, was considered a weak edge class. The entire edge group. What was the first edge that went last year? Let me actually pull up the draft, the 2021 draft. Because the first edge went really late compared to where edges usually go. Yeah. So the first edge, they didn't go all the way until.
Quarterbacks had yet to sign their rookie contracts. Now there's just two.
Do you guys hear that? Because there's an ad playing right now on my screen. I apologize for that. So the first edge defender didn't even go until pick 18. That's not usually where edge defenders go. So it made sense Aziz was gonna go in that second round area. That's around where he was, in terms of the edges, he's ranked in that top 5. He was, I think, the 5th or 6th edge to go. That makes sense. And the first edge didn't go until 18, which was a outlier compared to regular years where you usually have an edge going in the top 5. So so the context does matter here.
Yeah, but I don't think centers are valued. Like, what's his name? The guy who went to the Chiefs last year? I mean, he was
I'm agreeing with that. I'm just saying the example. Okay, let me say this. Tyler Linderbaum to the 7, unlikely. Can it happen? Yes. Nakobe Dean to the 2nd? I don't know about that one, Chief.
I think so. Like, weirder things have happened.
And Aziz had the knee issue as well. Thank you, Chad, for pointing that out.
Yeah, he did, but I think weirder things have happened. Like, I just feel like he's going to fall to the 2nd. Because, like, nobody's talking about... Like, I think if they don't talk about them, like, when it's coming up to the draft, they're going to fall. Like, Lindenbaum... Like,
bro, we're like a month... We're technically 2 months away from the draft. So, like...
Yeah, but
you can't say nobody's talking about them going into the draft.
Lindenbaum was said to be a top 10 guy, but I don't hear people talk about him right now. Like, he might fall. And Nakobe Dean... Yeah, I think he might fall as well. Because there's always guys who climb up the draft because of their 40 time and their leaping ability or something. So I really think one of them is going to fall to the 2nd.
We'll have to see. I just disagree, but we'll have to see, man. But
Yeah, that's.
I
I
got
mean, I had
Matt.
to have two hot
Yeah,
takes. I had to have two hot takes. Like we can't agree on everything.
I mean we can't agree on everything, but that last hot take was kind of less hot and more just like what in the world are you thinking? Take.
All right, but
We'll see.
if he falls to the second, don't say I didn't tell you. Like one of them will
If he
fall.
falls to the second, you better be in the chat on Draft Night when I'm streaming and remind me that you said
I
that.
will.
But yo,
I'll
let
be
me
there.
let me get Matt Rogers, the Packers fan, calling in here for the last caller tonight. And thank you, AB, for calling in, man. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks for letting me on.
No problem, bro. Matt Rogers, what's up, man? Packers fan with a Kevin Owens profile picture. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
I'm good.
Okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So that last guy just hurt my head more than anything. I don't understand where he sees Jermaine Johnson going in coverage. By the way, I just don't.
Like I said, I respectfully disagree with what he said, man. That's all I'll say on it.
And man, as someone who's been like doing the draft for the past few years, it's just like this hurts my head. But yeah, just like I'm just like trying to get my mind as a Giants fan, just trying to see how you guys see things. So like, how do you how do you go continue with Daniel Jones as your guys' quarterback?
How do we continue with it? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
So this is my rationale, and this is what I think that the Giants are doing. Listen, if we get rid of him, we're looking for what? A bridge quarterback, because I don't think we're in a position to get a franchise QB right now. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Right? So my thing is, use him as the bridge quarterback because his contract is super cheap right now. It's cheaper than what you're going to pay a bridge quarterback. And if somehow, some way, as the bridge quarterback, I think this is unlikely, but if somehow, some way he goes out there and balls, then great. We don't need to find another one. But if he doesn't, which is what I'm expecting, then he served his purpose as being just a cheap option to kind of be a placeholder there, and we find the quarterback when his contract is up, which is going to be at the end of the season. So what do you say to that? But that's the way I've been looking at it, and I think that's the way they're going.
And see, the thing is for me though is that you guys drafted him, what, 6 overall?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really premium pick there to just take a guy who eventually is going to become the bridge quarterback to someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, as someone who's looking at it as like a GM, like how do you see that pick, like a top 10 pick, be like just wasted? I guess you can say.
I mean, what would you? There's nothing I can do about it. That's why I'm looking to the future and just saying, listen, bro, just use him as the bridge. You're saving money in a situation where we have to save money in any way possible. I'm like so past that 6th overall pick being used on him. I'm just like, let's just get this team right.
Yeah. So then, like, so you come into this year, right? So you got Brian Daboll, right? You got him, and someone different than what you guys have done recently. So like, you think you guys not gonna go quarterback early? Like
I was saying earlier, if you heard from it was either a caller ago or 2 callers ago, when I had Manny on, I think I said it too. I'm getting a little bit of the Odell vibes from the way they've been handling, saying that they're sticking with Jones, they're sticking with Saquon. So I'm not tossing it out the window that quarterback is a potential pick in the 1st or 2nd. Like these are 2 guys that worked with 2 of the more developmental guys in the league, and Allen and Mahomes. And I'm not saying they're gonna produce the next Allen and Mahomes, but because they have experience working with developmental guys, and this is a class where it's like there's no for sure starter, there's no for sure number 1, aka it's a bunch of developmental guys. Yeah, I could see us taking a quarterback. I definitely could see that there. So I'm not throwing it out the window, man.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, it's just like it's a really weird year for quarterbacks. I was just like wondering if you got are you guys like cheering for a quarterback like off like do you guys want to take a new quarterback soon? Or...
There are some fans. I'd say majority of fans are not really looking to quarterbacks, but there are a good amount that are like kind of gunning for Malik Willis. I'll say that.
Oh, okay. I mean that would make sense because he, like from what I've seen from the Senior Bowl and like the year before this past year, he looked really good. He's going to be developmental and all, which
definitely fits that developmental mold. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would make sense if you guys definitely are going to make him your guys' like Daniel Jones, your bridge quarterback. But like so recently for like whenever I do mock drafts, I do Ikem Ekwonu / Charles Cross and Tyler Linderbaum for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that's likely at all, or do you guys think
So
are you guys gonna
you
go?
said Akeem or Cross and Linderbaum, right?
Yeah.
I think that's definitely realistic. Definitely something that could happen. Especially a month ago, like when mock drafts started happening, a lot of Giants fans were, kind of gunning for that, wanting that to happen. You get your tackle, you get your center. But like I said earlier, I wouldn't take Linderbaum at 7 because I think he's going to be there later. Not too late. I say trade down in the teens, get a couple more assets, take him there. And I'm a fan of really offense and defense in the first round. I really want to get our tackle, if possible, that right tackle, and either the edge rusher to go next to Aziz. Aziz just had, as a rookie, the 8-sack rookie season, which was pretty nice. So have somebody to go next to him because edge rushing is a 2-man job. Or B, get the next Giants linebacker because Blake Martinez off the ACL. We don't know how he's going to do. He may be gone like this year in the next month or so. And, you got Dean and Lloyd sitting there, maybe take them. Like, I'm a better fan, or I'm a bigger fan, I should say, of going offense and defense at 5 and 7.
All right, yeah. Because I mean, what happened to like the Karlaftis talk? Like you got like, it was always like a for sure thing with like tackle and then Karlaftis.
So I'm a big George Karlaftis fan. He's definitely in that thing of saying get my edge. I think he's my favorite edge in the class because of the fact that I think that we don't have a shot at Kayvon Thibodeau and we don't have a shot at Aiden Hutchinson. Like, there's talks about Thibodeau dropping. I think he still goes top 5. I definitely don't see Aiden Hutchinson dropping. And real quick, shout out to Frank Madrak for the $10 super sticker, I should say, of somebody flying with the Superman pose. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. It helps out the channel a lot. But George Karlaftis is my favorite because I see him 100% being there at 7. And I think he is the 3rd best edge rusher in this class. I've just spoken about him so much. It's almost like, beating a dead horse. So that's why I haven't really talked about it much. But I'm still like, I think the way to go is if he's there, Ikem Ekwonu at 5 and George Karlaftis at 7.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the best tandem you can get. I mean, I love Karlaftis as well. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he falls because I hope Green Bay can get him. But that's me. But so another one. I don't know how Adoree Jackson played at all. So tell me if he played good or not.
Adoree Jackson was really good for us. For most points of the year, I'm not sure if this is because of something with the scheme, if it was affected by the defense overall or any other circumstances, but he looked like our best cornerback this year. James Bradbury did have a step back from his 2020 season, which was amazing. James Bradbury was still very good, but Adoree, in my opinion, looked like the best cornerback more consistently this year. And he still went out a couple of games, I believe. I believe he was still knocked out a few games due to injury or due to something else. But I'm glad that we have him on this team because if we were to trade Bradbury and he's not there, we don't have anybody. We automatically become one of the worst secondaries in the league after being, one of the better ones. I think we're above average, to say the least. Adoree, I think, could serve as a number 1 corner for at least a year or 2 if we don't draft a corner this year to replace Bradbury immediately and, say we just sign a couple guys to rotate in behind him.
Yeah, so that was my questions because I've seen people talk about like Bradbury getting cut or traded or whatever. So if there's any chance you think you guys will draft like a Ahmad Gardner or Stingley or Trent McDuffie or someone like that, think there's any chance?
Yes, I'm coming around to it more. I'm definitely coming around to it more. And like Manny was saying earlier, a lot of it, we're 2 months away. A lot of it still has, yet to fall in place. But because the combine is there, that takes a lot of stock. Whenever if pro days do happen and stuff like that, I'm really looking at a Ahmad Gardner heavy. I love Derek Stingley as well, but maybe the Giants try and steer away from players with a little bit of an injury history, considering the amount of injuries we just had.
My problem with Stingley is that he hasn't been productive since the freshman year, and he's been injured. For me at least, like Ahmad Gardner played so good this year. Is like I think he's cornerback 1, and then it's between
and Gardner. Let me double check, but I think he has size on Stingley, right?
I think he does, yeah.
Yeah. So I always like bigger corners anyway, just because wide receivers can get really huge now. So yeah, he's 6'2", 200, and then Derek Stingley is 6'1", 190. So not like a huge size difference, but there is a little bit.
The thing is just like for me, like personally, is like it's really weird how to rank Stingley, because like Stingley coming in this draft preseason kind of is like he's cornerback 1, and then like Ahmad Gardner happened and like the injuries to Stingley, and like for me, I have Stingley cornerback 3. It's it's just like really hard for me to put him in.
So do you have Andrew Booth ahead of him?
No, I have Trent McDuffie.
Okay.
I like McDuffie. He's like, if you have any chance to go watch Trent McDuffie, I think especially him and Kyler Gordon was a really good duo in college football.
And
so I know you probably want to get off or whatever, because I'll ask one more question, and it's about so basically Kenny Golladay.
Ooh, that man.
I heard so much hate for this man on Twitter, as I'm a Twitter user, and I go on. I follow some Giants fans, and all of them just tell me how much they hate this man. They hate Kenny Golladay. Is there a reason?
So
I didn't watch.
No, I'm gonna just say this right off bat. There is no good reason to hate Kenny Golladay, just like there is no good reason to hate Kadarius Toney. Now here's the thing. I don't know why some fans are just like not remembering or didn't see what happened on the field when he was healthy. And yes, both of these guys they got little injury issues, all right? Hold it against them if you must. But if you hate a player because he's injured, I'm like, you need a better reason than that. But when he was healthy, they did not use this man at all. They did not use him in jump ball situations, which you signed him for as one of the best jump ball, receivers in the league. Did not use him in contested catch situations. Did not once target him deep down the field. I know he's not a burner, but Detroit used to bomb that ball down. Go look back at 2019 and a few times he played in 2020. Detroit used to bomb that ball down to him, bro. Not just Matt Stafford, even their backup quarterback used to bomb it down to him. Did not use him that much in the red zone and end zone. A big body, big target like that, and you don't even use him in the end zone / red zone. That's Jason Garrett. And yeah, he has his own issues, like I'm saying, the injuries. And there was times where he couldn't make separation. I do think, once again, that's because of he's recovering from the injuries or the injury he sustained in 2020. But there's no good reason to hate this man when it boiled down to just not using him well at all. And that's for every single offensive player. Because Giants fans, it's like they hate Jason Garrett with good reason. But like they're picking and choosing players that were actually affected by Garrett's scheme and play call.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, after like a year, you guys had. Well, I mean, like preseason, when I've seen from you guys, like you guys were supposed to be this top dog, and just like everything just kind of collapsed. I mean, that type of stuff just sucks.
It was a combination of injuries, massive coaching regression, and just like an offense that was from the 40s, man. I don't know what Garrett was doing out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even after Garrett, like, didn't Garrett get fired like mid-year?
He got fired around week 10, week 11. What's his name? Freddie Kitchens stepped up, and it was impossible, but the offense got worse.
Well, yeah, because like they had that one infamous 4th down quarterback sneak, whatever.
Mm-hmm. I was at that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I don't know. I'll probably be back later. If you do more streams, I just like.
Yeah. So I saw somebody asking it in the chat as well. It's every Tuesday. Anybody and everybody is welcome. Even if like I am about to get off, but if you call in earlier next week, if you're here and you want to talk Packers or just general draft, I'm all game for it. But thank you for calling in though, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man. It's late night here in Wisconsin, so I thought I'd be join in.
No problem, man. And then, are you still watching WWE and or AEW?
Sadly, oh my god, I can't with, I don't know how to explain. I have a love-hate relationship with wrestling.
Me too.
It's like,
I understand that. Me too.
It's just it's like sometimes it's like, especially from like All Out to when Hangman won the belt, I was like, oh yeah, this AEW is awesome, I love it. And then like Hangman was just like meh for me.
No, I agree with you, because I was a big AEW stan, and I know not a lot of chat isn't going to like probably even know what we're talking about. are interested in this, but I was recommending AEW to anybody and everybody that I knew because that run it had, the run it had from when it first came before it was even called AEW when they did that show back in 2018 or 2019, up until exactly what you said, the Hangman got the belt, was unmatched in my opinion. But then after that, it's kind of like, I don't know, whatever happened. It's funny because it reminds me of WCW back in the day, because around the time the quality didn't necessarily fall off but start to dip was around the time they started getting old WWE stars, just like in the 90s was around the time WCW started taking like WWE leftovers. And WWE, in my opinion, has never had any type of good quality programming since like 2016. But, you know, it is the biggest name out there, and all they need to do is put out some average, and they're going to get numbers. And they've put out average, in my opinion, in like the past 4 or 5 years.
You see, the only thing I've really watched, I watched like the pay-per-views from WWE, of course, because I Peacock. Like
I watched the Big Four, is what I watched basically.
I see with the Royal Rumble this year, it was so bad. Like the only good match was the first one, and then they just ended it. Like, so the Royal Rumble just sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But like, so I watch like the paper. Sometimes I'll watch Raw and SmackDown, but like, the only thing I like enjoy is like the Edge stuff, Roman Reigns, some Brock Lesnar. But like from like AEW lately, I've been watching for the CM Punk and MJF, and like this weekend, I hate it because I really was rooting for Hangman Page to like have this magnificent run as a world champion. I really hope Adam Cole wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just.
I actually watch Adam Cole on Twitch.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I used to watch him a little bit. I just didn't like time.
It's like whenever I have time, basically.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I was gonna say, because we could definitely go on and on about this. I've even considered doing like a wrestling podcast, but I think I'm better off just listening to it, because like I said, I only watch the Big Four at this point in AEW whenever I catch it. But I'll say this: 2 new WWE superstars that recently joined that I'd absolutely love to meet. Nikita Lyons and Gigi Dolan. Listen, if y'all are out there listening, I'm your biggest fan. All right, I've only seen like one match of the both of y'all, but superstardom is in your future. Let me stop. But hey, man, thank you for calling in, bro. Let me close it out, man. Have a good one, bro.
Yeah, man. Have a great night.
And guys, to all you in the chat, I appreciate all of you tuning in and listening. Really do. We got 72 people in here right now. Hit that like button if you have not already. Get us up to at least 70 likes every Tuesday. The call-in show is here. It is not possible without all of you watching, liking, subscribing, sharing it out, just being here, chatting. You know, thank you so much for tuning in. That's it for now. I'll see y'all. Young Guns tomorrow. Should it happen, would be on KB's channel, not me. Other than that, we'll be back in a week. Peace.